Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm going to show you something on these Injora wheels. They're really cool. They have a brass center part for the bead lock, and that makes them heavy to start off with. But if you want to have a little more weight on your front axle by adding these weights here, sorry to drop it, it's a hex weight. These are about, I don't know, about 9 grams or so. The problem is when you put them in these wheels here, the part that is supposed to sit flush against this circular part with the hex pattern, that corresponds to that hex, it's supposed to sink all the way in and sit flush on this part here. The problem is this part that is intended to sit flush is lower, actually deeper into the rim than the top of these screws that hold the wheel together. So it's kind of a problem, because if you try to bolt these onto your axle, what will not happen necessarily is the axle has to come through the center, and that's what you put the lug nut on. Well, it might be so deep in there you cannot actually get the threads to get purchased on the nut. So what I do is I'll take one of these and I'll put it in there, and then I'll draw a red line at each one of those spoke positions, and then it turns out looking like that. You got a red mark where each of the spokes are. I just continue them around to the front so that I'll know where to grind them, and then I'll go ahead and just notch those out. And now there's a place for those screws to not hit the these little tiny screws here. They sit a couple millimeters higher than that, so by making those notches, it gives a place for these to not hit that brass weight. Granted, you're going to lose a tiny bit of weight by doing that. In fact, I'll go ahead and measure it just to see how much I've lost. First thing I'll do is start off with the uncut one. Actually, it's only 6.5 grams. That's 6.6, less than I thought it would be. So when it's right in the center, 6.5. And we'll see what the cut one is. 6.1. So I've lost 0.4 grams. I'm okay with that. And I'll show you the difference in how they sit on an axle between one that is not cut and the cut one. Alright, start off with the stock uncut piece. I just want to show you the depth that it can go in there, and or lack thereof. I'll get that put on there and get it seated. Well, in this case, with that weight in there and that fully locked in, that thread does not even come through far enough to even get anything on it. That's taking the whole thread. It doesn't protrude out to where you can get any purchase on it whatsoever. Next, I'll show you the cut one. I just use a Dremel tool to sort of crudely cut that out, kind of like shaving with the beer bottle, but a broken beer bottle, but it worked. So I'm going to put this on, and that's got the recesses for the screw holes, and I'll show you what that does next. And with the cut version, you can see that I've got enough of the axle sticking out to be able to get a lug nut on there. And I'd probably put some Loctite on it because it doesn't stick out terribly far, but it's far enough that you can get a bolt or nut on there. And I use the Loctite blue on my lug nuts because I want to be able to take them off later.